10 reasons why Android is better than the iPhone. Coming up right now, let's go. So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, help you to master your technology, and welcome to my 10 reasons on why Android is better than the iPhone. Now, if you've been watching the channel, a couple of days ago I released 10 reasons why the iPhone is the best phone. So this is kind of like the other side of the coin. I think both platforms are equal, so we're going to share this one too. Now, the first reason is innovation. So Android is constantly pushing, innovations and stretching the boundaries when it comes to trying to try up different designs and things like that. And that's why it's my number one reason. For example, the LG G6 here is one of the first phones with an 18:9 aspect ratio. Yeah, they tried it even last year to do something different with modular. And this doesn't always work, this strategy. But for those of you who constantly yearn something new, something different, something just changing and not the same every year, Android is the way to go, and why it's my first reason why it's better than iPhone. Number two is the openness and basically the open source platform of Android. Now, Android is not as open source as it used to be. It's getting a little bit more controlled, I would say, by Google, but overall, it's still a pretty open platform. You can really customize the crap out of Android. You can basically do whatever you want to it. You can root the phone, and I know iPhone fans are going to be like, you can jailbreak iPhone, but it's just not as easy as it is on Android to do customization. I mean, you don't even have to be a techie or a geek or anything like that to go ahead and do some customizations to Android. Anyone could just buy an Android phone and start tweaking it the way they like it, purely based on their own interests and their own customization. So number two is pretty obvious one. A lot of people probably figured this was going to be in the list, but openness of the platform and the fact that you can basically do whatever you want to this guy right here. So open source is number two for why Android is better than iPhone. Number three is the freedom and flexibility of Android. There's just so much choice for Android. I mean, you can go all the way down to $200. You can go down to $100. There was even, like a $5 Android phone. So Android, because it's open source, anyone could just make hardware, throw Android software on there, and pretty much charge any price they want on the smartphone. And this really allows Android to reach many more people and get in the hands of many more people. And that's one thing I love about it, is that it really gives everyone an opportunity to go ahead and purchase a smartphone. Now, it is diminishing these days. iPhones are not that hard to get your hands on anymore, as the slightly older iPhones with like the A8 chipset, such as iPhone 6 and SE, coming down in price point. The iPhone is starting to become much more accessible to everyone. So this argument could be countered, but I would say overall that there's still a large variety of choice and flexibility with Android that just cannot be found on the iPhone. So that's why it comes in at number three for my 10 reasons why Android is better than iPhone. Number four is that there is more applications on the Google Play Store than there are on the App Store. Now, this recently changed. It was iOS forever that had more apps on their App Store, but now there is more applications for the Android store than there is for the Apple App Store. Now, there is a lot of junk applications in the Play Store, but same could be said for iOS. There's a lot of junk applications in iOS. So the fact that you can download from the Play Store, as well as download other app stores such as, the Amazon App Store, and pretty much anything on the web, if they're, if it's a safe source and there's an app store, you can download other app stores. You cannot do that on iPhone. It's very closed, and this could go back to the whole open factor. But number four is the fact that you just have more application choices here on Android, regardless of the fact if you think they're more polished or not. You do have more application choices. Plus, if you want, you can go ahead and download like APKs, but I don't recommend doing that because it's kind of like stealing, and I don't advise anyone to do that. But that's just my take on it, my opinion. Anyway, that's number four, more applications. Number five is better Google integration. Now, I mean, you would think that, it's Google's platform. They would have better Google integration, and using Google services on an Android phone feels a little bit better to me than using them on an iPhone. There's just so many Google services that work well together here on the Android platform, and you do have a lot of polished Google apps for iOS too, so you can still pretty much do all your Google stuff on iOS, but some things like the Google Assistant just doesn't work as well on iOS. They do have sort of a Google Assistant on iOS with the Google Search app, but you have to actually open the app app, where you can just go ahead and go like this here on the Android. So Google services, of course, are better integrated, as well as Google Maps. So anything that's new with Google Maps is coming to Android first. So that's pretty cool there. So if you're into Google services, Android is still, I think, the king when it comes to using a phone purely if you're strictly a Google head, if you know what I mean. So that's number 5. Number 6 is choice of prices. So I talked earlier about how you have a large range of choice in terms of, hardware, flagship phones, and this is similar, but what I mean by choice of prices is that it doesn't matter if you're on a budget of $200, $100, $800, $1,000. There is a price point for anyone who's going to be buying an Android phone. They have prepaid phones, they have top-of-the-line phones, they have mid-range phones such as the Moto G5 Plus that are actually becoming very nice and premium looking and feeling as even flagship phones. We have $1,000 phones, we have innovative phones, we have ugly phones, we have beautiful phones. We have anything you could think of for anyone's price point. So in terms of price, I think it does exceed the iPhone, because if you want an iPhone level experience, you can have it at, a cheaper price, such as the OnePlus 3T. Or if you want an iPhone level experience, you can have it, with the Galaxy S8 Plus at a similar price point as the iPhones. So, you got choice of price here, and that's why it comes in at number 6 for me. Now here's a huge one in number 7, and this is the file manager. This is a huge one for those of you who use your phone for more than just using it as a phone. So if your phone is your only computing device, you can get USB attachments or USB-C attachments that allow you to plug SD cards in here, that allow you to plug other peripherals and things like that into your Android smartphone. And this is one that I think Apple really needs to get if they want their phone to exceed the Android platform even more, if you think that it already exceeds it now, which I think they're equal. But you know what? File Manager is huge for Android, and those of us who like to use our phones consistently as one of our primary, if not our only computing device. I mean, I've seen a YouTube channel where the guy said his Galaxy Note 5 or 4 was his only computing device for his entire YouTube channel, using the S Pen, File Manager, and the great camera that comes on those phones. And that's pretty incredible to see that he ran a whole YouTube channel right off of his Galaxy Note 5 or 4, and I know he couldn't do it as easily without a File Manager. So this is huge for Android, a File Manager. It comes in at number 7. Number 8 is music. So on Apple, pretty much all your music has to go through iTunes and, the iCloud services, things like that. Music is Android doesn't really care where your music comes from on Android. So what I mean is that in terms of music, it's much more free. And a lot of us have been knowing this who've used Android for a long time, that music on here, let's listen to a little bit of music while we're talking. You can see some hi-fi audio. But music it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's totally free. You can put it on pretty much from any source. There's going to be no complaints or no, problems in terms of music. Now, some of the music that you could put on Android doesn't sound quite as good as what you get on the iPhone, because you have to go through, iTunes. You get higher quality sounding music. You might have some weaker quality music on Android, but that depends on where you're getting your music from, not so much, the Android platform itself. So just make sure you get it from a quality source, and it'll sound just as good on Android. So music is a win for Android over iPhone to me. Number 9 is multitasking split window. So, if I go into this latest video I just created on the channel, let me go ahead and pause the video. If you're watching a video and you want to browse something else, you do have multitasking here. So on this Moto phone, I just go ahead and drag it here. And you can see I can now split my applications, whatever else I was doing. And if you use a Samsung device, you can use even more apps due to TouchWiz including more apps in their multitasking tray. So this is something that you cannot do on iPhone, and it's really annoying because a lot of times we want to do something in one app and we got to keep switching out. And also on Android, you can just double click like that to go in between those apps as well. So multitasking split window for Android is another reason, and why it's number 9 on my reasons of why Android is definitely better than iPhone. And my 10th and final reason why Android is better than Apple iPhone is Stylus support. So there's only a select few Android phones such as the Stylo series from LG as well as the Galaxy Note series and a couple other phones that support stylus function input. And I'm not talking about those stylus you buy that work with all capacitive touchscreens. I'm talking about styluses with Wacom technology such as these in the Stylo as well as the Galaxy Note series that allows you to only use it with your phone, which makes for more precise input here on a stylus. Now, a lot of people say, who needs a pen to go ahead and use your phone? That's just redundant. No, actually it's a very productive feature and very precise, especially when you're navigating such a small phone. If your phone's going to be your only computer, once again, stylus can be very helpful. It's like a little mini mouse for instead of using your finger, which cannot reach all of every little thing very easily on a smartphone. So definitely a stylus is a win for Android, and my final reason. So those are my 10 reasons why Android is better than iPhone. Do you have any reasons why you think Android is better than iPhone? Did I hit them all for you right here in this video? Let me know. Did this help you out in deciding if you want to go with an Android or an iPhone for your first smartphone, or maybe you want to switch to Android and a lot of these reasons convinced you, look, you know what? I'm going to try out Android for once. Let me know that down below. Anything you want to say, we'll chat about it. We'll chat about it down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button for me. Nick here, help you to master your technology. I will catch you all in the next one. Be sure to be well, and peace.